Jaya Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari Yasodhanandana Prajana Ranjana Yasodhanandana Prajana Ranjana Yamunatira Manachari Yamunatira Manachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Govinda Jaya Radha Jaya Govinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Prabhupada Sita Gaur Premanand. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashta Prayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Hare Krishna. First of all, let me seek your apologies and your blessings. Apologies because I do not find myself to be qualified for any discourse, any uh, topic which I can talk about, and whatever that His Grace Vaibhav Krishna Prabhu has spoken about me, I take that as an inspiration. I want that to happen. I am not that. Whatever he has spoken, those are all good words, and I want to be there sometime in my life if there is mercy by Guru and Gauranga and Krishna. So I will try to cope up, and in this course of next whatever words I'm going to speak, please trying to just purify myself and trying to repeat what our acharyas have said before. So I will just speak whatever I could understand, and I may be wrong in my understanding. So please correct if I'm wrong anywhere. And, we are going to see the shloka number 17 of 10th chapter today. Please repeat after me. Katham vidyamaham yogim tvam sada parichintayan केषु केषु च भावेषु चिन्त्योऽसि भगवन्मया कथं विद्यामहं योगीं त्वां सदा परिचिन्तयन् केषु केषु च भावेषु चिन्त्योऽसि भगवन्मया कथं विद्यामहं योगिं त्वां सदा परिचिन्तयन् केषु केषु च भावेषु चिन्त्योऽसि भगवन्मया
कथं विद्यामहं योगिं त्वां सदा परिचिन्तयन् केषु केषु च भावेषु चिन्त्योऽसि भगवन्मया कथं विद्यामहं योगिं त्वां सदा परिचिन्तयन्
केषु केषु च भावेषु चिन्त्योऽसि भगवन्मया कथं विद्यामहं योगी त्वां सदा परिचिन्तयन् केषु केषु च भावेषु चिन्त्योऽसि भगवन्मया कथं विद्यामहं योगी त्वां सदा परिचिन्तयन् केषु केषु च भावेषु चिन्त्योऽसि भगवन्मया माताजी कथं विद्यामहं योगी त्वां सदा परिचिन्तयन् केषु केषु च भावेषु चिन्त्योऽसि भगवन्मया अहं योगी त्वां सदा केषु केषु च भावेषु चिन्त्योऽसि भगवन्मया त्वां सदा परिचिन्तयन् केषु केषु च भावेषु चिन्त्योऽसि भगवन्मया Synonyms Katham how Vidyam aham shall I know Yogin O supreme mystic Tvam you Sada always Parichintayan thinking of Keshu in which Keshu in which Cha also Bhaveshu natures Chintya Asi you are to be remembered Maya by me. Translation purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. O Krishna, O Supreme Mystic, how shall I constantly think of you? Which forms are you to be remembered, O Supreme Personality of Godhead? Purport. As it is stated in the previous chapter, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is covered by his Yoga Maya. Only surrendered souls and devotees can see him. Now Arjuna is convinced that his friend Krishna is the Supreme Godhead, but he wants to know the general process by which the all-pervading Lord can be understood by the common man. Common men, including the demons and atheists, cannot know Krishna because by Arjuna for their benefit. The superior devotee is concerned not only for his own understanding, but for the understanding of all mankind. So Arjuna, out of his mercy, because he is a Vaishnava, a devotee, is opening for the common man the understanding of all pervasiveness of Supreme Lord. He addresses Krishna specifically as Yogin because Sri Krishna is the master of the Yoga Maya energy by which he is covered and uncovered to the common man. The common man who has no love for Krishna cannot always think of Krishna. Therefore, he has to think materially. Arjuna is considering the mode of thinking of the materialistic persons of this world. The words Keshu Keshu cha Bhavechu refer to material nature. The word Bhava means physical things. Because materialists cannot understand Krishna spiritually, they are advised to concentrate the mind on physical things and try to see how Krishna is manifested by physical representation. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखावितांश हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम् Hare Krishna. So we are looking at this chapter 10, which is the appearance of the Absolute. We'll just have a quick recap of what we have seen until the chapter. So in the first section, up to the 7th slok, we have seen the understanding Krishna's unknowability and how one serves him. And then we have seen the Chatushloki Gita. Now in this chapter, Arjuna is actually accepting Krishna and his position and requests him to hear more from him. So until the next shloka, which is the shloka number 18, Arjuna is going to inquire and request Krishna to reveal his personality to all of us. And as Srila Prabhupada always says his favorite quote, everyone knows God, that God is great, but how, no one knows. So this is what Arjuna is going to help us understand how God is great and how Krishna is going to reveal himself in the coming shlokas, and then he is going to actually show his Virat root in the next chapter. So, what are the things that we should look at when we read this shloka? There are certain important aspects. This is actually a follow-up question on the previous verse where Arjuna is already asking to reveal himself, asking Krishna to reveal himself, and then he's further requesting. He is reiterating the same request with three different questions. We'll see the questions in the next slide, but there are certain things which are very important in this particular shloka. Krishna has been addressed as Yogin. Yogin, when Srila Prabhupada writes in his purport, Yogin is used because Krishna is the master of Yogamaya, and he covers and uncovers himself with this mystic power that he has. He covers himself in front of the devotees who are not who are non-believers or who are not accepting Krishna, and he will uncover himself in front of his pure devotees like Arjuna. So we as common man, we are falling in the first category where Krishna is not going to uncover himself first. So Arjuna is trying to help us see Krishna and his mystic powers by his own credits. The importance of keshu keshu cha bhaveshu. Keshu keshu matlab by which how many forms that you have, and how do I see, in which forms do I see. And as mentioned in the purport by Srila Prabhupada, bhaveshu actually means a material thing, a physical thing. So this is intended for people like us who are at a very lower platforms of bhakti, and we cannot perceive things beyond material world. We cannot perceive things in the spiritual realm because of our very poor vision and because of our poor knowledge about Krishna. So we cannot perceive him as he is. So he is requesting Krishna to tell us in which physical forms can we see him. So this is what the Keshu Keshu cha Bhaveshu. In which physical forms can we see? Is the question here. Nature of Arjuna is Vaishnava. He is one of the very senior, very great Vaishnavas. So he has all the qualities of Vaishnava, and he is definitely concerned about the entire mankind. He is concerned not him about himself. For himself, he has already agreed. He has already accepted. He has already said Param Brahma Param Dham Pavitram Param Bhavan. So he has already accepted Krishna and his supremacy. But still he is asking Krishna to show to reveal his form. This is out of his mercy for fallen souls like us, for the mankind, so that Krishna will reveal him and himself, and we can try to understand Krishna more better. So that is the reason why, despite being such a senior great devotee, Arjuna is asking Krishna these questions to show himself and to reveal himself. Krishna is asked for these occurrences so that one understands Krishna, and then he can do a little more proper devotional service. Until which you cannot actually, without knowing the Lord, we cannot perceive Him. And if we cannot perceive or understand Lord, it is very difficult for us to be in a devotional service which is pure. So, what are the three things? Which are the three questions which are asked here by Krishna or requesting Krishna three things. He's saying, how shall I constantly think of you? If you read the sloka, Tvam Sada Parichinta. So how do I constantly, regularly think of you? Second question is how, and the third question he's asking is, as we discussed just now, Keshu Keshu Chabhaveshi Chintosi. How in various forms are you to be remembered? And this is for materialistic people like us who cannot think of Krishna in the spiritual world. Let's see these three questions one by one. I'll take some help from Ishopanishad here uh, because there also some similar explanations are there in Srila Prabhupada's purports. Uh, so how shall I constantly think of you? To think of somebody constantly is not a very simple activity to do. It is very, very intriguing. It is very, very intense activity. I was listening to one lecture by uh, Her Grace Nitai Sevani Mataji, and she gave one simple example. In earlier days, our mothers used to carry the bunch of keys all the time with them. Nowadays, I don't know whether ladies carry or not, but previous days they used to carry. And those keys had, the keys of the locker, keys of the house, and so many important keys. And they will tie up the keys somewhere, to the sari, or maybe they will put it here. And with that, they used to do all their household activities. Just imagine one day the keys are lost. She's not finding the keys. Will she sit down and do nothing and just think about the keys? She will generally not. So she will continue her routine work. So she will get up in the morning, get ready, make breakfast for her kids. But all the while she's thinking, did I keep the keys here? Did I keep the key in the kitchen? Did I keep it in the bedroom near the table? Did I keep it in the drawer? She will keep thinking in the background all the time. But she's continuously doing all her course, all her routine work. She's making the kids ready for the school. The kids are going to school, and then she's still thinking. Then she's going to drop them. Then she will think, oh, did I keep it on the door? No. So similarly, until the keys are found, she will keep thinking. Some similar kind of analogy is here, that when we are doing our regular work, we should keep Krishna in the background all the time in mind. Whenever we are doing anything, we should think that this activity is for Krishna, and how we can try and link this activity to Krishna. This is precisely what thinking of Krishna the whole time, or thinking of Krishna every time. Krishna himself has number of times told us during in the Bhagavad Gita. He says Satatam Kirtayanto Ma. So he is saying you should satat, always, every time, every moment. You should think of me. You should worship me. He is saying Tesham Satata Yuktanam Bhajanam Priti Purvakam. So he is saying Priti Purvak, if you are doing regular worship to me, you will come back to me. So Krishna is also telling this repeatedly, and there are so many other examples where Krishna is saying, Satatam. He's saying regularly, every time, every moment, you should think of me. And when is that possible? When Krishna is the most important part of our life. Until we make Krishna the most important part of our life, he will not be in our mind all the time. If we have some other taste which is lower and which is more dominating, we will tend to forget the higher taste of Krishna consciousness, and that is going to drag us away from our spiritual growth, our spiritual progress, our bhakti. So that's the reason when we give the most importance in our life to Krishna, that is when we are going to think of Krishna throughout our every moment of our life. So in Ishopanishad, it is said Isha Vasam Idam Sarvam. So it is all, everything belongs to Krishna. Everything is of Him. Everything by Him. And if we have this thought constantly at the back of our mind, then it is going to be a little easier for us to think of Him every moment. Another aspect which Upanishad has also elaborated is on the renunciation and detachment. So the more we get detached from mundane things, from things which are not adding any value to our spiritual progress, definitely it is going to be uh, Krishna coming at the center, because once we start giving up things, there will be a vacuum, and the vacuum will be automatically filled by Krishna. And when that happens, we will start thinking of Krishna every moment. And third thing is meditating on the transcendental nature of God. So, how do we do that? We have to constantly think of Krishna. Oh, and how can we do that being in this material world? So we'll have to we'll have to look at Krishna in a particular form, and that's why Srila Prabhupada always encouraged deity worships. So when we are doing deity worship, uh, Krishna is right in front of us every time. And the more seriously we do this, the more purity will come in our spiritual services. The second question here, which has been raised by Arjuna, is how shall I know you? There is this very simple example which we all of us have uh, gone through, and at the cost of repetition, I'm going to really present that particular small example. When we see a aeroplane up in the sky, it is so small. It is looking like a tiny spot, right? And then we think that is that the plane is such a small thing. But when we go near the plane, we see the magnanimity of the plane. We see how the whole thing is so big, and what we were thinking of it when it was in the air. Similarly, if we do not hear about Krishna, we will not know his magnanimity. We will think Krishna as an ordinary person. And the more we learn about him, the more we understand him, the more we will realize his stature, his supremeness, and his magnitude. And for that, we need to have a constant learning curve, a constant, rather a regular study of Krishna. I'll come to that. So through acknowledging his transcendental and immense. So, what we should also, again, this is referring to Upanishad, that God is, we have heard of Ajinta Veda, right? God is also near, God is also far. God is present, God is not present. So, Krishna has this Ajinta Veda quality which we are unable to appreciate sometimes, but with the help of our acharyas, we try to understand and internalize this quality of Krishna, that he is everywhere. Uh, he's present. He is not present. Like we discussed, he covers himself with his yoga maya, and he uncovers himself with yoga maya. So how do we understand this? So he covers himself with, he will pick whom to reveal, and he will pick whom not to reveal. So he will not reveal it to you because you will not be able to appreciate. And somebody who cannot appreciate him, he will not reveal himself. So he is. This is again a point to understand that Krishna can, uh, demonstrate his Achintya Veda with quality, and that will be very very confusing for somebody like. That is how we should repeatedly learn from our scriptures the nature and the quality of Krishna through contemplation of his attributes. So Krishna is what? Krishna is, as they say, omnipresent, omnipotent, yeah, and omniscient. What is omnipresence? Krishna is everywhere. We see Krishna is everywhere. Omnipotent is he has the he has all the potencies. He has all. He's the super powerful of all. So that's omnipotent and omniscience. Omniscience is he is the knower of everything. He is the source of all knowledge. Nobody knows things more than him, and he is the one who has created the knowledge, and he is the one who possesses all the knowledge. So if we know this, it will be easier for us to understand Krishna, that about his qualities. uh, in the fifth mantra of Ishopanishad, you remember, Tadejati Tanaijati Tadure Tadvannike, which is he walks and he doesn't walk. He is there, he is not there. He is near, at the same time he is far away. So this is the Achintya Veda Veda, and if we try to understand this through the scriptural references and through our acharyas and through our spiritual master, or through the teachings of the senior acharyas, and so we will try to understand. That is the only way we can understand this quality of Krishna, the Achintya Veda quality, and by seeing the divine within oneself and others. So here we say, Krishna has said, Sarvasya Chaham Hriday Sannivishtu. So he is sitting in everybody's heart as a Paramatma. And if we start looking at every single person uh, as wherein Paramatma is present, so that gives us a little simpler understanding of what Krishna is, and that is the reason why the Mayavadis and the impersonalists, they don't appreciate Krishna, and they cannot understand Krishna, and Krishna also does not reveal himself to them. I will not go into details, but I could just see this. There are many more. I just picked up a few, wherein Srila Prabhupada has elaborately mentioned why it is important to know the science of Krishna. He calls it science of Krishna, and why it is important, how you can understand those. As I say, it will be very lengthy if we go into the details of all. But I've picked up some references here where things have been mentioned by Srila Prabhupada in detail. This is another example which we have seen everywhere. Been we've been reading and we've been told since childhood how an elephant is pursued by blind men, and this is how right now we are trying to understand Krishna. We think Krishna is one, but Krishna is also another. So this is telling us that we are totally blind about Krishna, and we should make serious efforts to understand Krishna as a whole, uh, and that will require uh, a large amount of dedication. We've been hearing uh, His Grace Vishwa Prabhu has repeatedly said in his lectures that we should at least dedicate 2 hours of our day to reading, and if we do that, uh, this four or five people which we are seeing on the near the elephant, all these four or five people will come together and they will try to understand elephant as a whole. So, if we really dedicate some of our, even yesterday in one of his lectures, who I was saying, we should listen to our spiritual masters lecture at least once in a day. So these are some uh, restrictions or some discipline that if we inculcate in ourselves, we will be able to understand Krishna a little more. Uh, of course, with our very poor pool of knowledge and our very, very poor intelligence, it is very, very difficult to understand Krishna on our own. And even with the enormous literary resources that we have from our acharyas, it is difficult to read and understand all those in one lifetime. And the later we start, the more difficult it becomes. So, but still, we should make an effort. And how do we know Krishna? There are number of ways we can make an effort to understand Krishna. One is, as I discussed, one is the reading part. Read at least 2 hours a day, and that will help us continuously and make it a discipline, make it a habit, make it a compulsion, make it anything you call it. But make sure that we take out some time for reading about Krishna and read from only from the bona fide acharyas. Read only from the successive disciplines and sorry disciplic succession, and that should be the mood, that should be the aim target, to understand Krishna through the writings of our own gurus and our own acharyas, and not to read anything that is available outside our Gaudiya Parampara. Shravan, of course, is one of the very, very potent and at the same time very easier activity which can be performed in Kali Yuga. Because with the technology now we can actually play a lecture and drive a car, and we can keep listening. We can listen while we are working. We can listen while we are doing any office work, for example. So listening is now a little more available. There are so many technologies. We have the social media. We have nowadays, especially after Corona, every single speech is recorded. It is available on YouTube anytime, any moment. And thanks to all the disciples of Srila Prabhupada, they have recorded almost every word of him, including all his lectures, all his morning walks, even his in-room discussions have been recorded, his letters have been recorded. So there is ocean of knowledge available. And there is almost every aspect of Srila Prabhupada's discourses available. So it is much more easier to find them. And again, thanks to his disciples, they've created Vani Media, they've created Scott Desiratory. There are so many things where all his material is freely and easily available. So, reading and listening is definitely the two most easy, the low hanging fruit, as we say in the corporate world. That's the simple thing that we can attempt. Sadhu Sang, yes, in this part of the world, but thanks to the congregation of Kanaya Desh, we are getting that Sadhu Sangha, and we are actually having a very strong, good, and devoted congregation. So Sadhu Sangha is one of the ways we can try and learn about Krishna, try to know Krishna and his name, his qualities, pastimes, yeah, and his form. Chanting, of course, chanting is one. Chanting the Mahamantra is, I call it as a backbone of all these things, because the more sincerely we chant, the more purified we get, the more encouraged we are, the more energized we are. So, all these activities uh, really require a very strong motivation, because we are all again covered by Maya. We are covered by so many activities which are absolutely mundane. We are covered by the worries of the material world, and for that we need a real time motivation, and this motivation is provided by chanting, uh, and all this should culminate in bhakti one point in time, and it has to grow day by day. It has to our attraction towards Krishna, because he is the all attractive. So our attraction towards Krishna should grow day by day. And if it doesn't grow, we are falling short in some one of these activities, we are falling short somewhere. And finally, it should lead to total surrender to Krishna. And once this happens, only we can understand Krishna, we can know Krishna. And the more we know him, the more we can fall in love with him. And until we know anybody, we don't fall in love, right? We don't fall in love with a person passerby, somebody passing by on the street. We don't fall in love with, because we don't know him. So the person whom we really know, we like that person, and we grow our affection towards that person. So Krishna is the supreme person. So why we do not have that affection to him? And we can have that affection to him only if we know him. And these are the ways we can try to know him. And the last third question was, in what various forms are you to be remembered? Now this question is for all the materialist people who cannot perceive Krishna more than a physical form. So I'm not, I think already a little behind time, but he is, as I said, he is omnipresent. So we have to understand he is present in everything. So whenever we see anybody, we can think of Krishna. We can remember him. Uh, He is the controller of everything. He is saying, Maya Dakshina Prakriti Suyate Sacharacharam. So he is saying, because of my, I am the director, because of my direction, all the Chara Achara are moving. All the movable, animate and inanimate are under my direction. So why cannot we see Krishna in them? And whenever we see such a Chara or Achara, why cannot we remember him? So once we know that he is in all the chara and achara, it will be very easy for us to remember him whenever we see anything. And he is the source of life. He is always the person who light, as in not the physical light. Always, it's a light of knowledge. He's source of knowledge, and he can light up our minds. He can light up our understanding, and that is how we should be able to remember him. And now Krishna has given in the next few verses of this chapter. Krishna has given us all the areas in which we can find Krishna, and we can see Krishna, and we can remember him. So he has given. I will not go through all the shlokas there, because they are yet to come in the next shlokas. From I think from the sloka number 19 onwards, he will talk about we can find him in what. So he is going to talk about as I said, animate and inanimate. He is going to talk about living things, non-living things. So in demigods, where do we find Krishna? In sages, where do we find Krishna? Humans and kings, where do we find Krishna? And so on. So Krishna will explain us in reply to Arjuna's question, in which physical form we can see him and we can remember him. So, for example, in the nature, he says, I am the sun, Aditya Namaham, Vishnu Jyotisham Raviransham. So he's going to tell us where do we find him in this whole world. And if we understand that, it will be easier for us to see him in everything and then remember him in everything. And once we do that, then only we can think of him every moment, all the time, sada. And that is going to help us in our spiritual world. So, as Srila Prabhupada says, just take to this process of Krishna consciousness and your progress and advancement of spiritual life is guaranteed. So, Srila Prabhupada on behalf of Krishna is guaranteeing us if you take this seriously, your progress is going to be absolutely guaranteed. And such a guarantee nobody can give us. If you go and buy something, they will give you 1 year guarantee, 1 year warranty, nothing more than that. But Srila Prabhupada, without knowing any one of us, is giving us guarantee, and that is the potency of this whole process of Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna. So I think I'll stop here now. If there are any questions, queries, I will try to take them. I was expecting to. Yes, Prabhuji.
So, I was discussing with devotees brother. You mentioned about the reading part.
Yes, Prabhuji.
To know a person, you have to like know what him the means to know is to read here. So, like I did a short survey there. So, amongst devotees and devotees who don't read at all, 0 minutes. The devotees who read 50 minutes every day, and the devotees who read for 1 hour. And now the next question asked was, then how will you read for 2 hours as prescribed? So one answer was, if I get time, I will read. If I get time. More answers were, I will try. I will try. So Guruji, it is enlightened that for all of us, yeah, like eclectic, so many different levels of reading we all are doing. Some are not reading at all, and some may be reading 2, 3, 4 hours a day. So, how we can do that? Means, if our answer is that I will try, then maybe it will not happen. Casually we say I will try. Or we say that if I get time, that is again the answer which means nothing happens. So, with your experience and with your journey, please guide like how can we be motivated to read books? Because the short survey here was not very positive here. So what can we do really about it?
Prabhuji, first thing that they have acknowledged that somebody is not even reading for even for a minute. That itself is a good beginning. I think that is they are acknowledging that they are not doing it. Number one. In my personal opinion, Prabhuji, I will try is a consolation. It does not mean anything. I will try is just a phrase. It doesn't happen because either you do or you don't. So there is nothing called try. For reading a book, you don't need to try unless you don't know that language. For with the grace of Srila Prabhupada, with the mercy of Krishna, most of his books are available in plenty of languages. So there is no excuse that I do not understand this particular language. Once we have decided to read, until we decide, we are not going to do that. Once we have decided, We don't need to try. It will happen. We will find time. I don't have time again is a very lame excuse. It's an excuse which normally very weak people give, because everybody, uh, nobody is working 24 hours. Nobody. Especially in Kuwait, most of us have ample free time once we are back from our road. Ample free time. We don't work for 16 hours a day. Very rarely, probably once in a year, there is some emergency in the office and we work longer hours. But otherwise, our regular timings are fixed. So finding time is based on our urge, is based on our commitment to Krishna consciousness. It is based on how do we really see ourselves. Yesterday's lecture, if you remember, Prakash Prabhu had said, we should have a target. If we do not have a target, then we can keep trying, we can keep finding excuses. There are 1000 excuses. My kids were not well, my wife was not well, I was not well. There was rain outside, there was sun outside, there was dust outside. There are 1000 reasons I can right now talk sitting here. So that's not how we can progress in our spiritual life if we really want to. And if we do not want to, then yes, these 1000 excuses every day you can find one. Still, you will not be repeating an excuse in next 4 years. I'm sure. So if we have decided, if we have committed, things will definitely fall in place. And to get that interest and to get that liking in reading, we can see, probably explore some other ways like Shravan. For Shravan, we don't need to dedicate any time, right? We can just put things on and we can keep doing our things. As I said, we can drive while some lecture is put on in the car. We can do some another activity which is mundane, but we can have some lecture going on in the background. There is no. But when we do Shravan, when we hear uh, to the senior devotees, to acharyas, that will definitely one point in time ignite the liking for reading in our minds. That is for sure. But if we really do not want to do anything, then Krishna also cannot save you. So that is how it is, Prabhuji. This is my personal understanding. If Prabhuji, if you want to add anything to it, Krishna.
Today is very wonderful, man. So actually, I don't have knowledge to all these stuff. Just but I can take away. They are given the formula, which is very easy to remember. How to know Krishna. RSS, CBS, I divided it that way, so that easily we can able to remember. Then another thing is you gave a wonderful example that all it is holding by Mataji. Since I gave already all it is to Mataji, I don't need to take any responsibility because I am irresponsible now. But the point is to wonderfully explain in the background, always we have to remember Krishna. That's a wonderful again your Prabhuji. So thank you very much. We remember thank you. Thank you very much.
Right. Prabhuji, even if you have given the keys to Mataji, you cannot be responsible. You are responsible for your own spiritual progress, Prabhuji, nobody else. So we cannot be responsible in any case. Whether you give the keys or you give the whole house to Mataji, doesn't matter. We have to be responsible for our own spiritual growth. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, thank you so much. Prabhuji, handing over to you.
Krishna, we have time, I think, up to 1 o'clock is the end.